Hello, everyone. What happens when innovation meets purpose and people around the world come together to dream, hack, and build a better future? Today, I'm very thrilled to finally welcome Ann Molin to the show. Ann is the founder of the Hack for Earth Foundation and the true force in sustainable innovation. From global hackathons to Climate Week in New York, she's helping turn big ideas into real impact and bringing people together to solve some of the world's toughest challenges. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Moses. It's great to be here.
I'm very excited. It's been a while. We've been trying to make this happen. I've been following your awesome work for some time now. So I really can't wait to dive into some of the amazing things you've been up to and explore what's next on your mission to hack for a better world and better future. Let's start by well, you've recently been part of international climate events. I saw you were in COP28 in Dubai and also in Riyadh. So I would like you to tell us a little bit about your visits over there.
Okay, let's start there. So when we do our global hackathons to create sustainable solutions to the global challenges that we see, we usually connect them to one of the big events, global events, where a lot of people who are invested in and interested in sustainable innovation are present. So for the COP28, we did Hack for Earth, global hackathon in collaboration with UN and with Ericsson and several other big organizations. And we had, I think, almost 1,800 teams joining from over 120 countries. So that was really cool to see them come together there for the COP28 being the high level UN summit for sustainable development that takes place every year in a different country. And for the COP16, UN names them, they have different numbers, but
Yeah, it's so confusing.
COP16 in Riyadh last year in December, that was for food security and to combat desertification. So that took place in Riyadh, and that was another UN conference, high level conference, focused specifically on food security and desertification. So I was actually invited there to join the global flagship for food security that launched in Riyadh at the COP16. And it's a super exciting project that focuses a lot on action on the ground. For the next 5 years, there's a budget of 10 billion US dollars provided by several big organizations joining from all over the world to for the purpose of having more people around the globe being able to stay where they are and um, cultivate the land and have the food on the table. So really, the SDG 2 combat
Mm.
hunger is the focus on this. So I'm really excited about this project. And Hack for Earth Foundation is so far the only organization from the Nordics who has joined. So a
Wow.
little bit about that. That's a lot what we're focusing on
Yeah,
right
well,
now. Yes.
amazing. Well, before we dive deeper, I would like to know, I'd like you to tell us how did all this begin and what inspired you to dedicate your life to sustainable innovation and citizen-driven solutions, all these things.
Yes, and it's really a little bit of a different story, to be honest, because I'm actually a licensed psychologist. So I've been working within clinical psychology and psychiatry for 10 years, and then another 10 years as a psychologist in organizational psychology at the Swedish government agency called Arbetsförmedlingen, which is basically the government agency for employment. So, but I always wanted to evolve myself and try new arenas and ways to use my talents in different settings. So that's why I in 2018 was recruited by the Swedish government to run the government initiative called Hack for Sweden. And Hack for Sweden is a yearly hackathon that gathers people, citizens from all around Sweden, to create solutions for a better society. And joining this event is also many government agencies who provide their open data for the hackathon. And this is a very traditional hackathon in that sense that it uses data, and you combine different types of data sets and APIs to build technical solutions for a better society. So that was the very first time I saw hackathon, was in April 2018, when I went inside the venue of Norrsken House in Stockholm. And I just fell in love with this whole um, what do you call it, tool of creating innovation in a very short time, and you compete in teams, and like the feeling you get when people are really connecting and working
Energy.
on a common solution is just amazing. So I just felt I have to continue working with this. So I worked with Hack for Sweden for a couple of years, but then I wanted to go global and expand, and then I started the Hack for Earth Foundation to raise the bar literally in 2021. And then we also started the Hack for Earth company in 2022 together with my hackathon manager, Love Dager. And the reason for that was actually I was getting a lot of requests from organizations worldwide to organize hackathons for them. And that
Mm.
is something that has to be done within another entity. So the foundation is nonprofit, and it organizes global hackathons for a better society and a better future for all. And the company delivers hackathon services for any organization in the world who wants to use this really cool tool to create solutions to their perceived challenges.
Wow.
So
So
I could talk a lot about this, but I'm going to stop there.
no,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
where we are now.
Just feel free to tell us more about this. So you have the foundation and the company. Now the company is to help other companies or organizations organize hackathons. Do they always have to be related to the climate change, or can they be other hackathons that might, about social impact? Like, or are
So,
you
so
only
the,
focused on this?
the company delivers hackathons and hackathon services, hackathon workshops, and
Mm,
different customized hackathon services to all types of organizations. And as long as it's connected to some kind of innovation, we deliver this. Then so it doesn't have to be connected to the SDGs at all, really. But most often it also is. But
mm,
it's not a requirement. But for the foundation, it's not always connected to climate change either. It can be any of the 17 sustainable development goals that is involved, and that ranges from everything from poverty to combat hunger to uh, equality and education and global partnerships. So the sustainable development goals is a very broad um, area to work within. But that for the foundation, there has to be some kind of connection to the sustainable development, but not for the company. Yes.
So what was your main mission when you started Hack for Earth Foundation? What was your idea? Did you expect to be where you are today?
Definitely not. If somebody would have told me that I would write a book about hackathons like 20 years ago when I started working as a psychologist, I would have looked very confounded and very confused, because I wouldn't have believed them, of course. So no, of course, and that's the beauty of it. Do we ever know where we're going to end up? And that's the exciting part. No, of course not. And so really the why I started the Hack for Earth Foundation was, and quit my job with the government, the Swedish government, was really two things. Both that I want to do global hackathons, and take this tool, the hackathon tool, and our method, the Dream Hack Build method, international. But also there was one thing they were reluctant to let me do within Hack for Sweden, and that was to create an acceleration program that takes care of the solutions after the hackathon ends.
Mm.
Because hackathon is basically it's an innovation competition, and it ends in like it's usually not more than
Couple days.
48 to 72 hours, and it's kind of like a very structured workshop method that is very powerful, creates really good solutions. But if you ever been to a workshop, you know that you have the feeling, oh wow, we had great discussions and those ideas, and we had some great things that we would like to take forward. But most of us also have the experience that what happened to all
Nothing.
these great ideas afterwards? Somebody might write a report and put it
The
up
donors.
or put it in a drawer or something. And this was what I really found was so important, to take care of the solutions that come out of the hackathon and give them the best possible environment to grow and become real tools that have impact for people and society. So that's the one of the main reasons also for starting the Hack for Earth Foundation, to create an acceleration program that was based on science, on what works when you're trying to create a new solution that has impact for people around the world and our future. So I that was one of the first things that I set up. And my colleague, Dr. Christopher Wernmark, who is an expert within organizational psychology and
Also,
team development, created this.
so he's a so you guys are two psychologists leading this.
Oh no!
Yeah.
He's he's
Maybe
my
I'm
colleague.
confusing it.
I hired him. Yes,
Yeah.
we
Okay. Yeah.
wanted
You
to
got it.
create a really
Yeah.
good acceleration program. He went through all the science there is on innovation and all the research there is on what works and what doesn't
Mm.
work to create the acceleration program. And the reason I wanted a psychologist to lead this program, even though this acceleration program entails all the other things that you need in an acceleration program, like business
Mm.
planning, pitch training, communication skills, partnerships, financing, all of it is in there. Is because there is research that shows that the number one most important factor for any team to be successful at any task is psychological safety within the team.
Mm.
If you don't have that, you will fail. So since this is research that Google did, I think over a little over 12 years ago, because they wanted to find out what made really successful teams successful.
Mm.
And they actually came up with 10 important factors, but the number one was psychological safety. So that's why I wanted to integrate this element within an acceleration program to create really successful teams that also can have really successful solutions. Because I noticed, because this acceleration program business is like big business, as you know, there's some big companies out there organizing acceleration programs for all kinds of startups and solutions. But this is one factor that I tend to see is overlooked. And I think the reason for that is that there is not enough overlap between like psychological research and innovation research and many other areas as well. I think that's one of the issues with society, that we
Yeah.
need more overlap between different parts of society in order to make it more efficient.
Definitely, and it feels like this is one of the things that makes your organization special. That's how we can, the difference. You're focusing more. I've never heard about this psychological safety in accelerators, so it's super interesting. All right, can you share a moment when you saw, like we were talking about hackathons and how you fell in love with the concept from the start? Was there any wild idea that you saw from a hackathon that actually turned into a real world solution, whether it's with you, with your organization, or with others?
Oh, there's several of our winning solutions from our hackathons that have gone through our Build for Earth accelerator program and now are on the market. So that's
Oh
the
well, tell us
uh,
more.
yeah. So that's one of the goals. Of course, it's very important to me that there's real action and that the solutions are brought to life. Before I go into telling you a little bit more about different solutions,
Yes.
I also want to mention that the other really important factor, equally important, is connecting people around the globe, who citizens who may have great ideas but don't really know where to take those ideas, and to get them thinking about what can I do, how can I bring value to our sustainable future, and also open up your perspective by connecting with people who are like-minded and engaged within a better future around the world. So citizen-driven innovation is really important in that aspect. So just to mention a few, our hackathons is not only focusing on tech solutions. So one of the solutions that have come out of Hack for Earth in recent years is, I can mention Reciblock. Actually, that is a company from Morocco. I think actually they have one or two members from another country, but the CEO is from Morocco, and they have created they won in Hack for Earth at the Expo 2020 Dubai, and they have created a new type of building blocks that are made completely out of plastic waste. And their process of creating these building blocks is much nicer to nature and are much more sustainable than any other building blocks before them. So I think now that they are present in over 5 Middle East countries. So you build houses and other buildings with these building blocks. So that's one. I can also mention another team from India who created a new type of plastic made out of seaweed, and this was during the year when plastic single-use plastics was banned in India, and this is a huge country, as you probably know. So they needed to find an alternative. So this plastic, you can make plastic bags and packaging for food and everything of it. When it ends up in water, it dissolves within 2 weeks and doesn't hurt nature. That's also a very tangible solution. But of course, there are tech solutions as well. Like we also have another winner from Hack4 was a digital platform to combat domestic violence and both work with the perpetrators and the victims. And that they're called Bright Act, and they are present in several European countries and now also expanding to South America and Asia. So,
Wow.
and more examples in detail is in
Yeah,
the
we're going to talk
book.
about it. It's on my
But
list.
it will take me too much time to go
Yeah,
through, but there's detailed descriptions in this in the book.
that's awesome. It sounds like need is the mother of all inventions. Like you mentioned, Morocco, India. Do you think, in your opinion, what are the most creative places on Earth? You know, based on your own experience in terms of sustainability, innovation, and trying to find solutions to make a social impact. Can you mention a
Interesting.
few? Because I can see, I can tell, like you like the Moroccan example. It's amazing.
Yes,
Like I've
yes,
never thought about plastic being in
yeah,
building blocks.
exactly. Most innovative. You know, what you said about need is very
Yeah.
interesting because really, I think in all, and I read about this in the book as well, it's important to create a sense of urgency and have a sense of urgency when you're building something and trying to create something, both when you're communicating it to possible investors and to the market, but also doing it yourself. You need to feel a sense of urgency. There's a need for this to come to the
Like your
market.
life depends on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's feeling, I think, makes people more innovative because you have to be. There's like no, this is not working, so we have to be more innovative. So that is one thing, and of course there's a lot of sense of urgency in the entire African continent, but also in countries like India and other developing countries. There are other factors as well that are important. Like for in Sweden, example, Sweden is, or actually Stockholm as capital, is number two. Only to Silicon Valley in the world when it comes to number of unicorns, and that is a company that is valued to $1 billion or more, um, like in a very short time. So and how can that be? Sweden is a very small country. Only 10 million live here, and like,
But we don't have a need. Like you can't compare Africa to
yeah,
Sweden. That is a very interesting point.
and why is that?
Yeah.
So I think there's another reason for that. There's also other things that is important that makes a country innovative or not. And I think that for Sweden's part, it has a lot to do about the social safety net that we
Mm.
have here, and that you
Psychological.
if you yeah, that you feel that
Yeah.
you have to be kind of brave when you're starting a company
No
and
sale.
going with an idea and trying to make it work. And if you then feel okay, but if I fail,
I won't start.
there's a society will rescue me.
Yeah.
There's an alternative. I will not be thrown out. So that is one thing, and also the as some people say, it's also about low levels of hierarchy. So
Mm.
to be able um, to take things further and being quite bold and question things, I think that's also important, because if it's all kinds of innovation has to do with uh, large amount of playfulness, I think, and
Mm.
you cannot be playful and try things if you don't feel safe and that there's a good environment to play. If you feel that um, if I fail, that's a major mistake. There will be no area for playfulness, and there will be no innovation. So that's to be honest, that's also one of the reasons innovation and government agencies don't work all that well, because there's a lot of there. Of course, I know there's a lot of work being done in Sweden and many other countries to prevent that, to encourage innovation within government entities. But there's a lot of focus in many government entities to, like, don't do this and don't do this, and you can that's a bad thing when it comes to innovation. We want to innovate, you must just do, and if you fail and it goes wrong, that's okay. Uh, Otherwise, you're not gonna get the bold, bright, really interesting, innovative ideas, I think.
So funny. I had prepared a few questions, but the more you talk, the more ideas up
Sorry.
up in my mind. So the more questions I'm gonna ask you. Okay, but that's a very interesting topic. You know, oftentimes you hear that it's easier to start businesses in the States because you have, like venture capitalists who are willing to raise some money. What about Sweden, in your opinion? Because you also mentioned that it's number two country in the world where you have unicorns. How does it look like in Sweden for an entrepreneur who comes up with a great idea? Is it easy to access capital or not really?
Okay, so first of all, money is of course important. It's hard to do anything without money. I totally agree with that. With that
Okay.
said, you need so much more than money to do well as a startup.
Yeah.
So what we do and what science shows, that you should not throw money to a very new startup,
Mm.
because it's a very high risk that they will spend it on the wrong things, because they're eager to do things but they really don't know what they're doing in the beginning. So what you need first is as a really great business plan, a perfect market fit, create a sense of urgency, and you need also to get to get all your ducks in a row. So that's why within Hack for Earth, our winners, they don't get their prize money or even meet with our investors until the end of the 6 months acceleration program, even though they beg us. Oh, get us the money now. We're like, no, you finish the program and then you get the prize money and pitch to our investor community at the end. And this creates a much better um, foundation for them to bring their solution to life and also to get the investment. I would say in Sweden is quite. With that said, it's quite easy to get funding in Sweden. Of course, increasingly a worse what do you call it, environment for that, since the world looks the way it does, with a large focus on security issues and a volatile market overall. So money investment was very cheap, like a few years back. Now, not so cheap anymore, unfortunately. But, and with that said, there's also another problem that I would like to mention that is also equally prevalent in Sweden as in all other countries. And this, I think, is a problem for the entire our entire future. And that is that only 1%, it's actually less than 1% of all investments goes to companies started by women.
Mm. Wow.
You
That's
you just think about how many great ideas and solutions out there that we're overlooking just because we're focusing on the company has to be started by a man. So, and that goes for other groups as well. It's not only women. Other
yeah, minorities, like
minorities.
non-white, visible minorities.
Exactly. And this is in 2025. I
Yeah.
just yeah. So that's also if you're you're a white man and want to start a company, your your um your success rate of getting investors is definitely larger. So the what do you call it, the myth of
Yeah.
the genius being a white man is alive and kicking, and that is something that I know that they're working on and trying to change
It's not
this,
changing
but
it.
it's really a dilemma, I would say.
Yeah.
But
No. Yeah.
and for the world, I mean, all the great ideas and solutions that are made up and from other perspectives is we're missing out on. And
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah, the interesting thing too, just one more thing,
Yeah,
is that
sure.
the company started by women, their success rates is much greater. And you know why? Because
Why?
getting a completely different set of questions as well from the investors that they have to be sure that you really know what you're doing.
Mm. So if
And
you
of
make
course,
it, you're really good. Like you're.
so
Mm,
it's like, you hire men on potential, and as a woman, you have to
you
like
grill
prove
them.
yourself first. And so that's why investing in a company started by, I think it goes for other minorities as well, if you
Yeah,
want to
definitely.
minorities or groups that are discriminated. Yeah, but
Uh,
that's a
uh,
whole different topic. But yeah,
no, but
talking about
it's very important. We're talking about innovation, about starting businesses, and
yeah,
also I've recently heard that most of the founders who have access to capital come from Stockholm. So there's
yeah,
Stockholm is more, it's easier.
yeah,
Are men
mm,
Stureplan type of men? Like it's like a network. So women, even if you're in Stockholm, but you're a woman, it's harder if you're a non-white person, or if you have like background from outside of Europe, non-European background, is also hard. But actually, if you're smart, but then back to your point, it's very interesting because you're saying that. But once you make it, like the odds that you will succeed are much higher than the others because you've been grilled by the process.
yeah,
Like you really must be really
exactly.
good.
So if you can have that perspective with you, I really encourage all minority
Yeah.
groups to start companies, because you will probably bring a lot of value to the table because you will have been grilled, as you say.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
what's your process when you choose, like, people apply for a Hack for Earth, and
Mhm.
like, can you walk us through the process for anyone who might be interested in your work and
Yes.
who wants to join?
Yes. So Hack for Earth hackathons, the global ones that we do each year, they're open to everyone. And we want the threshold to be really low. That's
Mm.
the entire idea, to create a platform where citizens from all over the world can come together and create solutions. So you don't have to have your own team. We can help you with that. So you just have to sign up on our webpage, and you have to tell us what you bring to the table. What is your perspective, your competence? Um, what are you bringing to the table? And it doesn't have to be like you have a formal education, but you have to have something so we know how to connect you with others. What is it that you bring to the table? That's and you also need access to a computer, and you need access to Wi-Fi. So I know that excludes a lot of people around the globe, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, of
But
course.
what you bring to the table, and access to Wi-Fi and a computer, and then before our hackathon starts, the global hackathons that take place online, we have meet and match sessions. So that is for anyone who has no team at all, or only have like 2 or 3 team members and want to have more team members, because we put a lot of emphasis on diversity in the teams. And that's not just because it's the right thing to do, it's because research shows that levels up the innovation height in the solutions. So if you have different perspectives and diversity in the teams, like when it comes to gender, nationality, age,
Right.
competence, background, that increases the possibility of having a highly innovative solutions. And that is, of course, what we need. So that's we support everybody in finding a team if you don't already have one. And of course, you can hack solo if you like, but we don't recommend that because it's hard to win the competition if it's only you thinking. No matter how smart you are, it's better if you have colleagues with you. And then yeah, after that, it's really easy. We guide you through the entire hackathon, which usually is like 48 to 72 hours online, and you don't have to be online all the time. And during the hackathon itself, you work with your team, and we have several digital platforms where you also can partake in workshops that are relevant to or lectures relevant to what challenge you are trying to solve. And also we have like usually over 200 mentors, experts in different fields that are there to provide support for the teams when they run into any kind of issue in creating a solution. And then you turn in your solution in the digital platform, and it doesn't have to be based on data. It can be, as you heard, anything else. Since I mentioned that solutions that have won have been like building blocks and other and plastic bags made out of seaweed. So it's really what is it that you're trying to solve? How are you going to do it? And what is your solution, basically? And then the hackathon ends, and we have a jury that chooses the winners, and the winners are announced in an award ceremony. And then we are also very um, clear on that we expect the winners, if you win, to join the acceleration program. And so far, all teams have. It's not always the same team members that join in the acceleration program that partook in the hackathon itself. But that's okay, as long as we see that the solution is given the possibility to become a reality. And yeah, and yes, you mentioned that too. We always have a couple of challenges that you choose to hack on. It's like a
Mm.
problem statement, and it can be anything from how do we get clean water to everyone living on the African continent, uh, or something else. How do we create a better management of waste in cities in India or wherever? Just examples here. So, and this is something we create before we even start. That is what we
Mm.
do in the dream phase.
So how? Okay, so now two things. The jury, it keeps like.
Yeah.
So we have the jury. How do you? I'm curious to know how do you use how do you choose the jury? Sorry, and then the topics as well of each hackathons. What's the process? Is
Yeah.
it based on
It
actual
is.
needs or?
This is the dream hack build method that we described in this book. So this book is really a manual. It's a playbook on how to organize your own hackathon in person or online. So this describes these 3 phases that we have created together, me and my team, over the years. And we have made all the mistakes that is possible. So you don't have to.
Yeah.
So basically, you start with creating the challenges, like what are we going to solve? And the reason for that is that it's very important how you ask a question, because how you ask a question will determine the answer,
Mm.
right?
Oh, that
So
makes sense.
that's why, and it's also a good thing to create engagement and enthusiasm within the group that is going to participate in the hackathon. So that we do together with our partner organizations, and those are UN organizations like the UNDP that you mentioned have been part of that, and several other hacker communities and other companies around the world. and also together with the potential participants. And so you have but you start with okay, we want to do a hackathon on water or sustainable cities, so that's the overall arch. And then you choose a couple of challenges within this area together with your participants. And once you have those down, you go into the hackathon itself. And then you asked about the jury, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
so what's the process? How do you decide on it?
Yes. So we have 6 jury criteria that we always work with. And those are, I don't know if I have them in my head. Let's see. It's innovativeness, scalability, comprehensibility, and it's sustainability, how well it connects to the SDGs, and 2 more that I'll have to write them in the chat later. But it's 6 criteria. Diversity, of course. And those are very well communicated to all participant teams, but also to the jury, of course. And then the jury scores all the submitted solutions. We usually have like a jury of like 200 people, something like that, because when we do our global hackathons,
It's like a pool.
like say like we have 1,500 to 2,000 solutions coming in, and then we have a
$1,000.
big group of jury members score these on a scale of all these 6 criteria is scored on a scale from 0 to 10. And then the system calculates the winners in the different challenge categories. And usually we have like 6 or 7 challenge categories, so 6 or 7 solutions will win.
Mm.
And challenge categories can be, as I said, like water, sustainable cities, agriculture, energy, things like that.
Every year is a different topic.
Yes, yes.
And how do you choose it? Do you like, you try to be in harmony with the UN, with the actual needs? Like, is there a process there?
We that is something we create with our partner organizations
Okay.
for the hackathon at hand. So we've had, as I mentioned, it's usually several UN entities like UNICEF, Office of Innovation. We have UNDP, UNEP, and we've had World Food Program, and let's see if I can think of someone else. And then Nordic Council of Ministers. We've had of course, the Swedish government as a partner as well, and also, as I said, hacker communities around the world and other end companies like Amazon Web Services, Ericsson, AstraZeneca, and we bring them all together, and they can give their input and what's important, and then we choose the challenge categories depending on what is most relevant and what we think also uh, is something that the hackers this year will find exciting to work on, because it has to be exciting.
Like a
If
timely issue, like
they
something
don't
that.
want to work on it, like now I think there's a lot of focus of course on security, but I think the link to sustainable future needs to be done when it's when we talk about security. So that could be one possible challenge category this year. We haven't started on those yet. But
Wow.
yes, this is something we choose in collaboration with the people who are both the partner organizations and the people joining the hackathon.
Before we talk about the book, okay, so
Yes.
once you've won, like you've gone through the program, and
Mhm.
then do you put them in touch with investors? Do they end up in a pool of innovative ideas? Can like, how does that work?
So once you win one of the challenge categories, you enter the Build for Earth Accelerator program. Like only I think 3 or 4 weeks after the hackathon ends, the accelerator starts, and that runs for 6 months. And we have guest lecturers from in all the topics that I mentioned:
Line.
finance, communication, pitch training, sustainable development, team building, you name it. And then at the end of these 6 months, there is an event called Pitch for Earth. and there you get to present your solution to our community of investors and family offices.
Mm,
Then they can then choose to
best.
invest in all of them, of course, or in one of the solutions introduced, and they also get the prize money. So we have right now we have quite a big pool of alumni, if you want to call them that. Of course, we still continue to follow up the solutions that win after each finished accelerator program. And as I said,
Okay.
several of them
Yeah.
are now on the market. Not all of them. I wish
Yeah.
all of them, but
Yeah.
is
Of
how it
course.
is with ideas. They pivot really often during these 6 months and even after, because they realize, oh, okay, maybe we need to do it this way, and because you only get to do this much during a hackathon, but it's a very good sprint to start with a hackathon to collaborate and work on a challenge together.
Yeah. And it happens online. So they undergo the program online, right?
Of
Because
course,
they come from all over the place.
yes, that when we do when the Hack for Earth Foundation do these
Mhm.
global hackathons each year, connected to the COP events or the world exhibitions, it's completely done online, and we um, really make sure that it's a really fun experience as well, because I really believe it's important to have fun while you're doing serious things. It doesn't have to exclude each other that we're doing serious things, so that's why we have having a boring time. So
Yeah.
it's really we are careful about that it's supposed to be a good experience for everybody who joins, no matter if you win or not,
Nice.
and something that you can take with you into another setting afterwards. But yes,
Yeah.
as I said, all you need is access to a computer and Wi-Fi, and also tell us what you bring to the table. So
Exactly. And if you win, you'll end up in front of the jury of in front of
yes,
investors. It's a bit, it sounds like Shark Tank. I don't know if you know the program, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
they
know
sit
it's
there
kind of
and they say,
yeah. And
this
really,
says,
if you are if you win the hackathon, the first you what happens is that you get to pitch to the jury, that is combined of the head jury is combined of world leaders
mhm.
connected to one of the COP events or the world exhibition. So that's the connection to the COP events, that you get feedback from world leaders who are present there, and then at the end you get the connection with the investors.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about the book.
Yes.
You launched the book at New York City
Yeah.
Climate Week last
Yes.
year. Okay, so what made you write a book? Like, how did you come up with
It
it?
wasn't my idea, to be honest. But
You're
I
so
have a
honest.
no, but it wasn't. I get I have this way of saying yes to things. When people ask me how did you succeed at what you do, and what is the secret sauce, and I always tell them, say yes to things.
Yeah.
Because usually, at least in Sweden, you learn to say no. You should
Yeah.
learn to say no, and I say the other way around. You
Yes.
should learn to say yes to things, and let's see where it goes. Of course, you should not say yes to dangerous things that
That
could, but
hurt you.
um other than that, I think saying yes more often is a very good way of making things happen. And really, this book is a result of this publishing company, Pact Publishing, that they publish tech books in Great Britain and beyond. And they contacted me a little over 2 years ago and asked me if they could please write a book or publish a book about my method on innovation. And of course, I could not say no to that. So that's a great opportunity. I've never written a book before, and definitely not in English. I've written chapters in other books, but in a chapter is a completely different thing. So a whole
So
book
this
is
is
different. But since Pact Publishing is decided to publish a book, they provided me um, with a team who helped me with all the producing the book and the chapters, and getting the English really well put together. And so and I had one condition, and that was that, you see, I have my co-authors here. So this is, and the reason why I
That's not
wanted
well,
Lova, Mustafa, Carolina, and Christopher as co-authors is because they have been so important in creating this method of innovation, and I wanted them to have their own chapter on their expertise, because Lovi is the master of hackathon events and what platforms to use, and how to organize everything. And Mustafa is the master of community management. How do you manage hacker teams and mentors? And also he's very good at social media. He's been handling all our social media channels. And Carolina is the master of partnerships. How do you create a great partner community with different types of partner organizations from all over the world, and that brings them value, but also brings value to us and to the hackers. And Christopher Barmark is a doctor of psychology, as I said, and he's the creator of the Build for Earth Accelerator program. So this also meant that it was quite a lot of interesting work, long work to get everything together. But actually, this book was written in, I think, uh, a little over a year.
wow.
Only. So yes, so then yes, and then we launched it at the New York Climate Week, with which we felt was the perfect place to launch this kind of book that has this unique method of applying hackathon as a method to create citizen-driven innovation for a better future. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, cool. What should our audience expect to learn from the book, and where can we find the book?
So you can, this book you can find on Amazon, and it's not very long. You can, it's I think 274 pages, so that's not long. And there's a digital version as well, and it's very hands-on. As I said, this is a playbook, a manual. You can get it, and from this you can organize your own hackathon in your own community, in person or online. And it gives you all the tips and tricks that you need to do your own hackathon. So for anyone who wants to use this innovation method to create real solutions to the challenges that you perceive, it's a great hands-on manual. And we are now I'm contradicting myself because I'm going to say that I don't talk that much. Which I do, but I like to be precise and concise when I write. Obviously, not when I'm
That's
talking.
very
Talking
Swedish.
through it a long time now, but so it's not like, one of those books where there's a lot of words, then you
Yeah,
find,
blah blah
then
blah.
we get to the point. This
Yeah,
is really, we try to be to the point on how to use the DreamHack build method for your organization, and make it really easy to do so.
that's
So on
awesome.
Amazon.com you can find it, and yes.
Cool. Well, as a Swedish citizen, I'm always proud of Sweden's leadership around the world when it comes to climate and sustainability. You know, IKEA, you go to IKEA and you see that they're using water
Yeah.
from the roof and all these things. Um, what do you think, in your opinion, what is Sweden's role in advancing this sustainability and the protection of Earth?
I
And
think
where are we right now?
yeah, for being such a small country, I think Sweden has a great ambition of aiming to contribute to a sustainable future, and showing the way that even though we realize there is so many other actors and big countries that needs to make some really tough decisions, Sweden showcases that there's actually, it's important to also to do something, even though you know that you're small. we we do great things. And what the I think is important to mention, that I notice when I travel and meet other people from other cultures, and when I talk about Hack for Earth, is that we are the population of Sweden. We're very good at being aware of how uh, our lifestyle impacts um, the earth, the planet, our environment. And we, of course, there's things that need to be done in Sweden. We need to be even better at what we do, but the level of consciousness within the population is great, I would say, compared to many other countries. So and a lot of people in the countries also look to Sweden in this aspect. I was recently in Japan as a speaker at Earth Day Tokyo, and they were very impressed about the Swedish leadership in the sustainability area, and complimented Sweden as a country on this. And at least the people I talked to in Japan, they say that they had much to learn from Sweden, because they perceive that the knowledge of how your lifestyle impacts you, our sustainable future is lower in Japan. From there, what they said, I don't know if this is true, but this is something I hear from a lot of countries. So
Uh,
we can always do better, but I think we
yeah, of
should
course.
be quite proud of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I also have roots in the Middle East, and you've been recently to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates. Do you see any natural? Well, what was your impression first of all, and then if there are any natural partnerships that you see between the Middle East and Sweden in terms of knowledge transfer
Yes.
and all these?
Um. Oh, this is the big question. But I have had the opportunity to be present in the Middle East for several years. And first, it was we did the Hack for Earth at the Expo 2020 hackathon. So that was in Dubai. So we were in Dubai, me and my team, for the entire year of 2021. And after that, the COP28 hackathon was the COP28 COP event was in Dubai as well. So then we had reason to go back, and then I mentioned the COP16 was in Riyadh. So I think it's a very expansive area right now. A lot of things are happening there, and there's so much progress. And I would like to also mention, especially Saudi Arabia, where the progress is going extremely fast in the couple of years. So it's so exciting environment to be in, to watch these great advancements being made, and this transformation of society. And yeah, really exciting. And but if you compare sustainability awareness, I think it's the same there, that we have a higher level of awareness in the population on how our lifestyle impacts um, the earth. But I think our collaboration has been very good with the countries in the Middle East, and I think it's an area that's very important to keep working with. And I look forward to working more in the Middle East. Hopefully, more COP events in the
Yeah.
in the Middle East.
Especially
Definitely.
in Saudi Arabia, I go there quite often for work, and young people there are aware. 60% of the population is under 30. A lot of people
Yeah.
are talking about sustainability in their Vision 2030. Sustainability is like an
Oh
integral,
yeah.
important part of it. So I really
Definitely.
believe that your organization could be doing even a lot of cool stuff down there on the ground, and a lot of people would be interested.
Actually, so that's one of the reasons that we joined the global flagship for food security that I mentioned in the beginning, because the global flagship for food security, this 5-year initiative that was launched at the COP16 in Riyadh in December 2024. That's the original initiative is from Ag Fund, which is an organization for sustainable agriculture in Saudi Arabia, and together with several other banks within the Middle East and in Northern Africa. And they have expanded now to include organizations worldwide who want to contribute to this development. And the secretariat of the global flagship is now being set up in Bonn, because this is a collaboration with UNCCD, the part of UN that works with food security and desertification. So I'm actually going there in May to start the work with them. And the idea is to fund projects all over the world that are um, working on food security for people living in areas that have a risk for being exposed to desertification and dry lands and so forth. So since Ag Fund is the initiator of this great flagship, I foresee that I hopefully will get to visit the Middle East more in the coming 5 years, definitely.
Yeah, that's and do you love Sweden? Like whenever I talk about Sweden, they're like very interested
Yeah,
and
that's good to
yeah,
hear.
look forward to it. And IKEA, of course. But maybe the new IKEA would be Hack for Earth, that is especially amongst young people. What is next, and what's next for Hack for Earth? Looking
Yes, so
forward.
2025, really exciting year. The very next thing we're doing is the start of the global flagship for food security is in May in Bonn, and our next global hackathon will be at the Expo 2025, the World Exhibition opening now in April in Osaka in Japan. So the World Exhibition is open for 6 months, and our hackathon will take place somewhere in September. I don't have the dates just yet. We're still in discussions with our partners over there in Osaka on exactly when to do the hackathon, but that's the next global hackathon that we're doing. So just keep lookout on our website hackforearth.com or our social media on Instagram and LinkedIn for updates on that, because everybody around the world is welcome to join. And as I said, we usually have participants from over 120 countries. So I'm really looking forward to that. And of
Wow.
course, there's a COP30 taking place in Brazil in end of November.
And you're
And a lot
also
of,
going?
sorry?
And you're also going?
Oh, of
Like,
course, you have to go to the
feels like
COP
you're always
events
on
every
a
year.
plane. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes, I know.
Mm.
It's far away, definitely. But I also think that uh, there's there's a lot of focus on what the individual should do different. And of course, we have to take our individual responsibility as citizens for a sustainable future. But I think it's even more important that the global organizations and the world leaders take their responsibility. So it's sometimes I feel that the responsibility is kind of like pushed over to
Yeah.
the citizens. Oh, but you shouldn't fly. In Sweden, we have this concept flygskam, that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should be ashamed of flying. And I'm like, that's not really the issue here, because there's like if we stop the if the clothing industry just shut down and other that would have much greater impact than if I personally stopped flying. I
Exactly.
always take the train if I can, because I love traveling by train, and I love that way before I started working with Hack for Earth, but also for sustainability reasons, of course.
Exactly. And I think your work is very important because eventually you might come across, you might help founders who come up with sustainable fuel for planes. Who knows? So we really need you to travel to make sure that these things happen.
Thank you. But
Right?
of course, I don't travel if I don't have to. I also
Yeah.
think it's important to be as long as it's possible to be a good example there and not do impact that's not necessary.
Well, before we wrap up, was there anything I should have asked you but I didn't?
Oh, difficult question. No, I don't think so. I think we have talked about everything. That very good questions, by the way, and some that I haven't heard before. So
Uh,
that was really
that's
exciting.
why my show is different.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing.
Okay.
If you had to describe, this is the last question. If you had to describe your mission in one word, what would that be?
Impact.
Impact.
That's all of it. That's all that matters. Execution of ideas to making it happen. That's the one most important thing, because there's so much talking going on. You are talking everywhere and saying really good things, but what you're saying doesn't really mean anything if you don't do anything with it.
Execution.
So impact,
Tangible,
that's what it is.
tangible
Yes,
impact.
you have to do it.
Okay. Where can people find you? And
I'm on LinkedIn. Please connect with me there. Ann Molin on LinkedIn. And I'm also on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm Ann Fanny Molin. And please follow me there as well. And I would be happy to connect with everyone. I usually say yes to everything, as I said
oh
before.
yes, like you
So
did with
I
the book.
have, yeah. So please connect with me. I would be happy to do so.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.